What you guys got another video, the secret value mini PC, the Beelink SER8. This has a Ryzen 7 8745HS processor in it, which is plenty powerful for video editing and gaming. It also has 32 gigabytes of memory, 1 terabyte of storage, and also a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet LAN port on there. This is everything you're going to get inside the box if you purchase this particular model. Let's take a look at the power adapter right here. 19 volts, 6.32 amps at 120 watts. This is a hunky particular type of adapter. It does have a barrel connector on the other end, so that's how it's powered on the device. Comes with the actual power plug as well, which you can plug it into, and we also have the standard HDMI cable here as well, and there's your plug and your user manual for this particular model. If you look inside here, it's got pictures and English text and other languages as well. If you've never set up one of these before, it's pretty straightforward. And the mini PC itself, it's very well built from Beelink, one of the best manufacturers of mini PCs on the market. Let's take a look on the front. Starting from the left, we have a power button. Next to that, that tiny hole is a clear CMOS. Then we have our 3.5mm audio jack there. Then we have a Type-C 10 gigabits per second data port there, and also USB 3.2 10 gigabits per second USB Type-A port on the front as well. There's nothing on the sides here, so let's shoot on round to the back. So starting from the left-hand side, we have two USB Type-A ports. One is a USB 3.2 and one is a USB 2.0. Next to that, we have a LAN port. That is your 2.5 gigabit Ethernet LAN port. On the top, we have a display port, which is 1.4 4K at 144 Hertz, and another USB 2.0 port below that right there. Also, a 3.5mm audio jack is on the rear as well, with also a HDMI 2.1 4K at 120 Hertz. Next to that, we have a USB 4 at 40 gigabits per second, and then we have our DC in to power all of this up. Also, that big sort of grill bit up the top is where all of the heat is going to expel from the unit. So the CPU is a Ryzen 7 8745HS, 8-core 16 threads at 4.9 GHz max turbo frequency with 16 megabytes of L3 cache. The GPU is the AMD Radeon 780M, 12 cores, 2600 MHz. Storage is dual M.2 2280 PCI Express 4.0x4. That's two 4 terabyte drives you can put in here. That's a maximum of 8 terabytes. The memory is dual SODIMM DDR5 5600 megahertz, maximum up to 256 gigabytes can be put inside this unit. Now for the wireless network capabilities, let's take a look inside. It does have Wi-Fi 6. That's an Intel AX200 with Bluetooth 5.2 on here. It does come with a 3-year warranty, this mini PC as well. Comes pre-installed with Windows 11 Pro, but Linux can also be installed on here as well. It weighs 0.75 kilograms and it also is 0.814 liters. So pretty decent all-round mini PC. It does have that vapor chamber plus silent fan plus SSD heatsink in here to keep the actual unit nice and cool inside. When you remove this, this is made of plastic here. This is to help with Wi-Fi signal strength. Also in here we do have a little bit of mesh, so we need to remove these two screws here. This needs to be cleaned on a regular basis because obviously dust will build up, and this can obviously rise temperatures inside the actual mini PC chassis. So you have to be a bit mindful there. It does tell you on there to keep regularly cleaned. So inside here, we've got our two memory modules right here, which are already inserted. That's 32 gigabytes on here, and that's plenty for most mini PCs, but you can put more inside here as mentioned earlier. It does have that eSync here, and we do have two bays here, which means we can put another drive in here if we wanted more internal storage. Let me show you a close up here so you can actually see. So I really do like this design with that heatsink with two M.2 slots there. I do actually like the way that's laid out, and you can see just underneath there, underneath my thumb, that is where your Wi-Fi card is as well. Now this also does support auto power on WOL, and we also have that 3-year warranty on here. Triple display is capable on this device as well, supports 4K output, which is nice for people that have triple monitors. So let's button this all back up, and what we'll do is we'll do some testing, and I'll show you the specs for the actual memory. I'm not sure what type of memory is. I'm not going to pull all this covering off right here. It's more than likely Crucial or something like that, I would have thought, underneath there, but we can check some of the specs later on. So let's run Geekbench 6 and we'll do a CPU test first, and then we'll do the GPU straight after. So let's run this. So single core score was 2,592, multi-core score was 11,552 on the CPU benchmark. The GPU benchmark is coming up right now, so let me just quickly show you that. That's OpenCL score of 30,462, which is pretty impressive. The power of this CPU and GPU is going to be able to do some gaming and also some video editing. The 3D Mark score for TimeSpy was 3,252. The graphics score was 2,895. The CPU score was 10,855. And that gives us an overall score of 3,252. Let's take a look at the GPU benchmarks here for Night Raid. This is for our onboard graphics, and we'll see what that is. You can see the overall score for Night Raid was 29,071. The separate graphics score was 34,291, and the CPU score was 15,609. And that gives us the overall score of 29,071 points, which is pretty impressive for a mini PC. This will outperform many old desktop PCs. The BIOS is accessible, and you can see we do have access to some features inside here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you've got your advanced area here where you can go in and make some changes here if you need to, and also your chipset and your security and boot tab right here as well. Let's move on to the next part, which is our crystal disk mark. The sequential reads is 6,998, and the sequential writes are 6,679. The actual M.2 drive in here, SSD, is a Crucial drive. You can see CT here. And again, you can see PCI Express 4.0 times 4. And you have another slot on there for extra storage if you want to as well. The Cinebench R23 scores right here. Multi-core score was 15,206. And the single core score is 1,447. And that is on Cinebench R23. Let's move on to the video playback and see if it can play this file sample here. This is Jellyfish 400 Mbps, and this is quite a powerful video. It's 4K Ultra HD HEVC 10-bit file, and you can see silky smooth playback. This is going to be great for if you want to run a media server or something like that and play audio content. You're going to be able to do that on this particular device with no problems whatsoever. Let's try a 4K stream with Big Buck Bunny and see how we go. Now, for some reason, the last few I've tried here, it's maxed out on 1080p and doesn't let me stream at 4K. But you can see here, it's going to handle 1080p with no problem at all. And I'm pretty sure it will handle 4K streaming. For some reason, it's not showing up on the settings panel right there. But again, silky smooth playback. This is going to be ideal for all your movies and things like that. If you want to use this as a media server, it's going to be perfectly fine for that. Let's test some temperatures of the actual mini PC now and see how we go. So I'm going to go through here for CPU Z here so you can see. You can pause the video at any time. This shows you all the CPU specifications, and I'll go through and show you the motherboard specifications right here, and you can go through and have a look and pause the screen at any time to read these. And there is your memory right here. And I do believe this is a Crucial memory, and we should see that on the SPD tab right here. And there you go, Micron Technology, CT under the part number right there, which tells me it's Crucial memory. So yeah, so you're getting Crucial memory and Crucial SSD inside here. There's your graphics there, AMD Radeon 780M. And then we've got our benchmark here. I'm just going to do a quick stress test of the CPU to see what the temps are like right here. And you can see if we come down, let me just reset this so you can get a maximum here, because we've got 79.6, but that was through benchmarking. So let me just quickly reset the clock. But I'm not expecting any sort of temperature issues with a quality mini PC like this. So let's go ahead and start it up again. And you can see the max temps on the right hand side, 66.9. And again, it will just basically sit there pretty well at that sort of temp. You probably get over the 70s in a second. It's just getting up there a little bit because we're leaving it running. But again, I've run this before for 10 minutes and had no problems whatsoever. And we are under full load right here. So what about the gamer out there who wants to play games? Well, many PCs can play games and they can play them at reasonable frame rates, depending on what type of game you're talking about. So for instance, retro games, it can handle quite easily. You should get a good solid 60 FPS, no problem at all with retro games like this, no problem whatsoever. But when it comes to other types of games, remember you're using a 780M graphics, onboard graphics. And that is pretty impressive by today's standards. Some games can play at 1080p, depending on what type of game it is. So if you're looking to have an out-and-out gaming system, you might want to look at, for instance, a dedicated GPU. But something like this is doable for a lot of different types of games. Some games might need to be downscaled to 720p or even 900p for better quality pictures. And you can get a good steady 60 FPS on some of the AAA listed games out there. Some games can play 1080p gaming with low settings, and you should get pretty good frame rates. But again, like I said, there's many different types of games, and I'm not going to spend that amount of time playing tons and tons of different games. If you want to see a dedicated video on mini PCs and what types of games and what type of frame rates you get and what types of settings, let me know in the comments section down below. Now, if you're interested, Beelink do have some specifications on their website for RDNA 3 graphics card architecture game frame rate test. Testing configurations were the SER8. It's exactly what we've got right here, and they were playing at 1080p. And you can see League of Legends got 150 to 174 FPS. Destiny 2 would also got 50 to 60 FPS. And I should imagine these were low settings as well. Dota 2 got 105 to 120 FPS. And we also have got here Counter-Strike, by the looks of it there, 120 FPS. PUBG Mobile got 75 to 95 FPS. But remember, these are not my testing. These are what Beelink have put up on their website. So I'm just going by that. So when people ask a question about gaming, I always tell them, you know, expect different results for different games. Like some games might need to be played at 720p or 900p, and some games you can get away with at 1080p, just depending on the game. But you can generally get pretty good results with low settings at different resolutions. So you might need to try some of those out. If you want to see a full in-depth video on this, let me know in the comment section. I don't do too much of that because obviously that's not my niche, and I know a lot of people might not watch it, so that's why I don't add a lot of that stuff in. But I wanted to cover all that because I get quite a lot of questions about gaming and mini PCs all the time in the comments section. Anyway, with that said, I think that's going to be about it. That is the Beelink SER8. I just want to point out that this was sent out for review from Beelink. All opinions are my own. No one is reviewing this video before it's released, and no money has changed hands for this review. So there you go. So how much is this mini PC going to cost? Well, it's a pretty powerful mini PC. The 16GB of memory version with 512GB of SSD is $639. When you jump up to the 32GB of memory and 1TB of storage or drive on there, it's $889, which is quite expensive. They've got a couple of different colors here, and you can buy it in different countries. So if you're in the market for a new PC and you want to downsize and you want something a bit smaller and you don't want all of the dedicated GPU, then something like this is going to be ideal. For normal computer use, it's going to be exceptionally good. Anyway, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Big shout out to all my YouTube members who have joined my YouTube members group. I really do appreciate the support, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.